Right, so now this is part 2, so I'm going to walk very slowly because I'm going to be stopping in about, if I walk at my normal speed in 5 minutes, I would need to make a stop, so I'm walking very slowly so I can record this. Right, so as I ended my previous video, so I'll begin this one. I ended by saying I was speaking with a friend that I hadn't been in contact with for a while, and that we met at church. We both, I use the example of two people being bald, which I have been, where I shaved my head on certain occasions because my hair was falling out. So not because I was having chemotherapy or for fashion or anything like that. You see, there are other reasons why people might be doing something. So when I stopped going to church, I can't remember how long ago it was, but I'd say it's sort of pushing 15 years. Please note, I said stop going to church. I didn't say leave church. I said stop going. I stopped going because it wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting anything out of the experience. It was actually dragging me down. And I would have, sometimes I would be sitting in a church meeting and I would ask God, are you having a laugh? What am I doing here? And eventually he took pity on me and got me out. Speaking to my friend, it was to do with church policy, why he left. And I don't want to put this exclusively on as his behavior, because it's something, a pattern that I've recognized with others who similarly have left church. And in the past, I've had people sending me information. This is what I found out about the church. I'm reading this book, I'm reading that book. I don't necessarily read, more especially not for enjoyment. There are other things that I'm more into sports, and I'm doing things physically as opposed to mentally. And this isn't to say that I'm stupid or lazy or anything. It's just we have humans, as humans, we have different tastes. So like my sister has 2 bookshelves full of really highbrow books, and it wouldn't occur to me to pick one up. But what I have been doing over the weekend, beginning Friday, I downloaded, one second, let me just sort myself out. Better. Right, so I've got 4 bags of popcorn that I just bought. So I downloaded, I think 7 books from Audible. Mostly, in fact, all of them to do with the royal family and their connections going back to the beginning of the 19th century and coming forward to the present day. Not because I'm interested in the royal family or I want to find out the history of them. It's based, inspiration. That's how I get my information, by inspiration. And then I look into things. So that's how I do my research. I'm provided with the information. Like I said in the previous video, I find myself eating popcorn and then it twigs. And I think, hang on a minute, why am I eating popcorn? Let me see what the health benefit of popcorn is. So, or the benefits of popcorn are. And there are many. That's how I do my research. I do my research after the fact. So it's after the fact why I've bought all these books about the royal family and their connections. But what I find with people who become disaffected, for example, with religion, it is because they read a book, because someone told them something. And I said this many years ago. So what they do is they will leave church, but then they will go and find perhaps a group of ex-church members to bond with. In all the time that I've left church, and I say pushing 15 years, at no time, see, I walked really quickly, so it's like I've arrived. So I'm going to sit at the bus stop for a while and conclude the video. In all the years, pushing 15 years, that I stopped going to church, I've never sought anyone to bond with. I've walked alone. And this is why when I was going to the gym every day for like 6 weeks, I didn't need anyone to motivate me. I walked alone. I did it alone, right? And I think herein is the danger. So you're going to read books by people who have an axe to grind, the same axe as you, and you're going to take that as gospel. And not only are you going to take that as gospel, but you're going to recommend it to other people. I mean, I politely, with regards to my friend last night, I politely declined, and I explained how I go about doing things. So, gosh, yes. So also, I'm going to keep this short because it's very noisy where I am, and I don't know if the sound is carrying. I'm on a main road. A friend came over yesterday, and he bought me a bottle of Disaronno for my birthday. He picked it up along the way, and I had a little bit with some coconut water. Very nice with coconut water or with Lucozade. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to drink, but I'm just telling you how it was. So then I, because of the cost of living, I go back again to the popcorn. Everything's going up by up to 54%. I think a first class stamp is 95 pence. Everything is going up basically just like that. But wages are not. So I remember at the time when they were, was it in March of last year? So it's a year ago. The census. And we were being threatened that if we didn't fill out the census, we would be fined £1,000. And being told that I'm going to be fined £1,000 isn't something that's going to motivate me to do the thing that you're asking me to do. It's going to motivate me to do the opposite. Cutting a long story short, nobody fined me £1,000. And I remember I was speaking to this particular friend back then, and he was like in panic mode. So I reminded him about that yesterday, because obviously he filled out the census because he didn't want to be fined £1,000. I reminded him about it yesterday, and in so doing, I said to him that as regards to these utility bills, council tax and everything going up, the only thing that's not gone up is the rent. The rent is still what it is. So I said to him, my only concern is to pay the rent, because not just about paying the rent, but my objective in being at my sister's place for coming up to 2 years is to keep her out of residential care. And should she end up losing her property, the solution will be that they're going to put her into residential care. So bottom line is food, in no particular order, food and rent. Anything else I know how to talk to people. I know how to tell them what I think about their price hikes. So in telling him my thoughts, he asked me if it's the booze talking. He literally sat there and he listened to me, and he asked me, is it the Disaronno? Is it because I had some Disaronno why I'm talking like that? And I said, no, this is me, but I don't on social media. I mean, the things I was saying would have got me banned from all forms of social media for life. But that's my reality. So I'm actually, if you want to call it threatening, I'm actually more threatening in real life, if you want to call social media the fake life. So I'm actually worse. You know, they call people who have a lot of bark on social media keyboard warriors. So anybody who would think I'm a keyboard warrior on social media, which I'm not, it's me being real, but obviously I have to kind of censor myself because the objective is to not get kicked off, even though, as I've said before, I'm currently serving a 30-day Facebook ban. You know, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to change my views. It's just I will maintain my views, but on social media I'll just put them a different way, and from time to time I will get banned. So I mean, he presumed that it wasn't really me talking. It had to be something else, because he's never heard me talk like that before. But then energy bills have not gone up the way they have gone up before, have they? So I was later inclined to say to my sister I did one video about being inadvertently unequally yoked. And I said, imagine being married to a man who fears what man can do. It sounds really blasphemous of me for what I'm about to say, but I don't even fear God, because what's the worst that can happen? He's gonna strike me dead, right? And he already knows how I feel about that. So cutting a very long story short, if I don't fear God in that kind of way, I can be very matter of fact with God. Why on earth should I fear what man can do? I've simply said, when it comes to it and they send a high energy bill, I will simply ask them, and where do you think I'm going to get the money from to pay this? I likened it to me charging £70 for my blinds, and suddenly I've been given the green light by the government that I can charge £200, and I start charging £200, and then suddenly I get another green light where I can charge £450 for the same blind that was worth £70. Being a fair person, I wouldn't expect anyone to buy my blinds, and neither, as a fair person, would I charge £200, £450 because I can. I wouldn't do that. It's for want of a better word, just disgusting. I've started to think, even though if people earn their money, it's up to them. But I happen to think that if it be the case that you've got so much money you'll never be able to spend it in a lifetime, and you're then trying to take as much as you can from the little people, your customers, it's about time that people perhaps picked up their pitchforks and torches. I don't know, but I mean, the way I was talking yesterday, obviously I won't say what I was saying here, but I just think, going back to being unequally yoked, imagine being with a grown man who's afraid of his own shadow, is afraid of what the government will do, afraid of what the energy companies will do, afraid of what the council will do, just afraid. Imagine that as a life. I thank God that I'm not in any such situation, and that I have the strength to walk alone. I'm not gonna stay on this for too long now. because I think I've made my points. But we are in popcorn eating season, and I think it's ironic that I've developed a taste for it, me and my odd eating habits. But this is where we are, and I'm excited. It doesn't matter how rough it gets. I'm curious and excited to see where we're going to end up. And I leave you with that. So have a beautiful day. Look after yourselves and don't get wet in the rain. Take care. Bye-bye.